Good evening, everyone, and welcome to another round of sound. This is the #1 Cochran Sports Showdown. I'm Bob Pompeani. We have a lot to get into. We'll talk about the Pitt Panthers headed to the ACC and their chances of winning it against Wake Forest. But the #1 topic tonight, and the one that everyone's going to be looking at, is the Pittsburgh Steelers here on the Showdown, as the Steelers now have dropped out of the playoff picture in last place in the AFC North after a terrible loss today in Cincinnati. And here's your panel. We have Andrew Fillipponi, bottom part of your screen over there from 93.7 The Fan and the Pony Express Show. Nationally, above him, it's Will Graves, who does great work with the Associated Press, and Mark Kaboly, the injured Mark Kaboly from The Athletic. Real quick, Mark, update. How you doing? How's your leg?
Not good. Torn Achilles, but hey, I'll be ready for OTAs in April.
All right, well, I'm glad to hear at least you're doing okay and have a smile on your face. Let's begin with something that did not put a smile on anyone's face, and that's the effort today by the Pittsburgh Steelers. The game plan, the execution, whatever. It was all just one of the worst efforts I've seen. In fact, Pony, I'll start with you. Is this the worst loss of the Mike Tomlin era?
Well, it's the biggest butt kicking. You know, they've had losses to teams that were way worse than them, or they played down to the competition. You know, they've had playoff games like Tim Tebow or Jacksonville or even Cleveland last year that were soul-crushing. But this was an old-fashioned take you behind the woodshed and beat the crap out of you, bludgeon you. We watched a public mugging today for 3 hours in Cincinnati. And unlike a heavyweight fight, Bob, if this were boxing, they would have called the fight in the second round. We had to sit there for 60 minutes and 4 quarters and watch this thing. And I think it's eye-opening. Steelers aren't Rooney on down. We've now reached a point where the Bengals aren't just beating us. They're sweeping us in a season already, Joe Burrow in his second year, and they're embarrassing us. They are stripping us of our dignity. One of the worst losses of the Mike Tomlin and Ben Roethlisberger era.
I mean, I would say this, last week a lot was made about the yards. I think I wrote it about 8 times this week. The 533 yards the Chargers put up was the most since that 13 game against the Patriots. And what I remember most about that game against the Patriots in 13 was the response. That dropped them to 2-6, right? And they won 6 out of 8 and almost real oddly made the playoffs. There was no response today, even after Mike T talked about how important a week this was. To me, I'm not going to overreact here. I mean, I think big picture, and we've been on the panel, the 3 of us together throughout the season, have not been super bullish even when things were going well. I mean, let's be honest, their margin for error is real slim. I looked this up today. In the last 7 games decided by more than 1 score, the Steelers are 0-7. That dates back to the last time they won by more than 9 points was last year against Jacksonville. So they have a very small margin for error, and when they make mistakes, as Ben Roethlisberger did today, and as the defense made consistently just getting beat up front, they're going to get their butts whipped every once in a while, and that's what happened today.
That's the most concerning thing, that Cincinnati came out and just said, we are going to beat you. We're going to run right at you. You're not going to do anything about it. And they kept doing it, and there was no answer for it whatsoever. That's the concerning part. You just can't fix that. You just can't go back to the lab and, throw a piece in here and say, try a little harder and tackle a little better there. You got issues across the board on that defense. It's not going to be fixed with Lamar Jackson coming to town next week. So it's extremely concerning. The only other game I could think where it would even match this of a beating wise was, I believe, the Patriots in 13.
Yeah. When
they went up there and it was like 56-20, and everybody wanted LeBeau fired, and they just gave up like 700 yards. But that game was only 24-10 at the half, I believe. But that's the only other one I can remember where it was a thorough butt kicking from the beginning to the end. I don't care what the offense did in that game. That game was lost in the first 10 plays of that game.
Yeah, let's talk about finger pointing. There's a lot of it going on and who should take responsibility. I'm going to start with a guy on defense who was here as a 10th overall pick. They traded up draft equity to get him. Devin Bush continues to look like he has no idea what's going out there. So the question then becomes, Mike Tomlin had mentioned changes after the game today. What change can you make? Robert Spillane is now injured. There isn't a lot of depth. You have a guy like Buddy Johnston who's on the roster. What do you do there, and how long do you continue to play him?
Well, I think you've got to now do something that's more than just either good cop with the head coach. appreciative that a guy is coming back from a torn ACL and is actually playing. Bad cop, some of the criticisms that we heard from Keith Butler. No matter what the message is to Devin Bush, it's not getting through. It started on play 1 today, missed a tackle, mental error on the first drive, offside. You see him in the end zone again, nowhere near the ball, getting pushed back 5 yards. I mean, I'm sorry. Like, at some point, the politics of football need to go away. I think you are setting a horrible tone within your locker room if you continue to say, we're only going to play this guy because of where we drafted him. Okay? And right now, I'm sorry, whether it's Buddy Johnson or some guy off the street, I'm going to go with what Chris Hoke said. How are you content with someone that right now is not giving you effort? He's not trying. If former Steelers players can question a guy's heart, well, then I'm going to do the same. If he doesn't want to be out there, find somebody else, Bob, and quite frankly, I don't care who it is.
Well, I mean, they were close, I think, to that benching that he got in the first quarter today. I mean, I think that was coming. I think I don't know, I'm going to skirt the rules here a little bit. Let's just say that having watched practices this week and seeing 55 out there with a unit that was not the first unit at times, that to me was a message that Mike T was trying to send, like, hey, man, if you are not getting it done, we will bench you. And they did early after the penalty, and then obviously they couldn't after Spillane got hurt. I don't know, guys. I mean, I'm one of those guys. Let's wait and see. Part of the problem here, though, was like you could talk about effort, but he's undersized. He was undersized when they drafted him. Part of the thing was they thought, well, if Tuitt's up front, if Alualu's up front, if Cam Hayward's up front, then Bush can handle tight ends and he can handle running backs, and that's part of the problem, right? He cannot. These linemen, because they're mowing through the guys around Cam Hayward, are getting to the second level and running Devin Bush over. And I think that's part of the problem. So I'm not going to blame it all on him. It's a team-wide thing. But you're right, Pony. I mean, look, I think they are playing him because of the pedigree. But that's what you're supposed to do, right? I mean, that's what the league is. But he's
supposed to then play.
That's what
you're 10th overall. You got to do something. Mark, go ahead on that topic.
Well, the way I look at it is you could tell he's hesitant. And I'm not going to blame it on the injury of how he's playing so bad, but I know having injuries, you're hesitant of going in there and mixing things up. If that's the issue, then you have to get him out. I mean, I think Spillane would have been a perfect opportunity for him to come in and regain that starting position, and they would be a little bit better right now. But with his injury, you can't really make any moves right now. I mean, you can't put Buddy Johnson in there with Lamar Jackson come to town. That's just a disaster waiting to happen right there as well, unless they come up with some kind of crazy plan of playing, 3 outside linebackers or something to that sort. Devin Bush is going to be in there because they don't have anybody else. And it leads you back to what in the offseason when they were 20, 30 million over the cap and they had to get below the cap just to get, cap compliant, and they couldn't go out and get anybody. Then this is what happens. You have nobody along the defensive line that's any good other than Cam Hayward. Your inside linebackers there's no depth. Outside linebackers are no depth. It's just a disaster. And I think you have to trace it all the way back to the cap going down, and they didn't have enough money to go out and find the decent people.
All right.
I would bench Devin Bush, but I just don't know who to bench him for.
Yeah, that's a good point. We're going to talk more about that. Mike Tomlin said changes. We'll talk more about it. We'll also talk about the offense under Matt Canada, what we've seen, what changes could there be in 1 week's time, given the fact that there's a depleted roster there. We'll also talk about why veterans are playing so long into games. That's next, right here on the #1 Cochran Sports Showdown. The #1 Cochran Sports Showdown is brought to you by #1 Cochran, Go One Better, and by Highmark Blue Cross Blue Shield. Have a greater hand in your health.